Welcome to the YouTube channel where there's no intros, guys. We're just chilling.
Yeah, like real professionals. Alrighty, so today we're gonna be going to one of the suburbs of St. John, Quispamsis, or Quispam. When I first looked at it on the map when we were looking at areas, I had no idea how to pronounce it. And then when I got here, everyone was like, it is Quispamsis, but everyone just calls it Quispam apparently. Or that's what I've been told. But that's where we're going. This is St. John is on the Bay of Fundy, but Quispam is north and east from St. John, and is on the Kennebecasis River,
I think
I
so.
believe.
Quispam is very beautiful. It's like when we were looking to move here from Toronto, it was very, very tempting. Actually, one of the first houses that we put an offer in was in Quispam because we just found it so beautiful. Um, but now that I'm in St. John, I am kind of torn between. Like, I would be happy living in St. John or Quispam, to be honest. They're not that
Same.
very far from each other either. If you're in Toronto, like, think of it like driving from Toronto to Mississauga, but no traffic type of distance.
Yeah, it's just a lifestyle thing. You need to, in all honesty, it's getting better, but the walkability of St. John isn't the absolute best. Um, and even when it comes to the Harbor Passage and everything, you can get from the west side to uptown, but you can get everywhere with like a short hop with a cab, or there is the transit system and everything there. Quispam is a little more car centric, I believe. You definitely would want a car unless you're one of those brave souls that no matter what, you will walk and bike everywhere. More power to you. I wish I had that level of dedication. But we are heading out from St. John now and going to start making our way to Quispamsis. Getting to Quispamsis, we do have to go through Rothsay, which is the other suburb of St. John. I think there's a little bit of a rivalry between the two. I'm not involved, being in St. John proper, but that exists. That exists everywhere. If you're in Toronto, you would dog on Scarborough if you weren't in Scarborough, and I don't know where people in Scarborough dog on other people from. I don't know, Ajax maybe.
Markham, maybe
Markham.
Vaughan.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it's Vaughan, but I
Or
don't know.
Pickering, because of
No idea.
perceived uppityness of Pickering.
We've always both been in Toronto, like Etobicoke, Toronto.
Yeah. So West End, Toronto. You did eventually move. I think officially it was East York.
Yes, or North York. Yeah.
Yeah, out by the
Science Center.
the former location of the Science Center. I believe it is moving now to where Ontario Place is. I don't know what the timeline on that is, but I'm going to assume a while.
Where we're leaving right now is just the east end of St. John, so there's a lot of shopping here. It does look like on the road that we're on now, it kind of looks like industrial because it is a bit, but the thing that I like is you get a little bit of everything. So you kind of feel like you're just on like a random road, but if you were to turn at these set of lights here, like within 5 minutes, you're back to where like a Michael's is, or Winners, or the mall, Canadian Tire, all that fun stuff.
Yep. it is all pretty close together. In St. John, you do have to cross the bridge. There's only 2 access points across the river in St. John, as far as I'm aware, in terms of direct driving. So at times that can get a little crazy, but overall, it's really just up to what you like. If you want that white picket fence, except not literally, because there's not that many properties that have fences on them here. But if that kind of scenario, it's like, yeah, you're probably going to be looking more out in Quispam and Rothsay a little more than St. John. There are some very nice neighborhoods in St. John. I like the area we're in. Obviously, that's why I live there. But it's all up to what you want and what you think you want. But sometimes you got to sift through and make sure you're not living a super dream, because as in with anything, you don't necessarily choose your neighbors. So it could be the most peaceful thing now, but then you get the neighbor from hell, and that changes real quick.
Although I will say, I think the chances of you getting a neighbor from hell in St. John specifically are less, again, depending on where. We do have our ghettos, so I feel like the ghetto's the ghetto anywhere. If you go to the ghetto, it's gonna be, just, if you know, you know. But if you're looking in more suburban areas, which I really think St. John is in general, like I feel like every part of St. John is just a nice little neighborhood, to me anyway. But yes,
Yeah.
You want to do your research. You want to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Come spend some time here if you can.
Yeah, and just in terms of calling things a ghetto, is like, sometimes it's just the area looks a little run down.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's the white picket fence, and then there's like more urban living. So it's like, it might look a little rough, but I've walked around in those areas that were perceived as rough. I mean, I'm 270 pounds and 6'3", so it's like, I'm not particularly afraid of a rough looking neighborhood. But again, if that's something that makes you feel unsafe, yeah, it is. You can see it, and that's something to keep in mind. And even more so when it comes to talking about neighbors from hell. And that's also, it depends what you don't like. So the neighbor from hell can be many different things depending on what bugs you or not. So it's like you should pick a spot you live in based on either just the plot of land, like a nice plot of land, and do whatever you want with it, or you need to just make sure everything you're taking into account and looking into is like something that would be very hard to change, like the plot of land. You want to make sure if you're in a wetland or anything like that, it's like there might be a lot of water drainage. Even Quispam, there's areas that are like, you're right on the riverfront, and come April and March, there's higher chances of those areas flooding because of all the runoff going into the river. And you can live into the interior, but you might get more things like bugs. So if that bugs you, it's all like for example, even on the west side, or just St. John overall, because it's the Bay of Fundy blowing over everything. I would say there's way less bugs, again, even comparatively where I lived in Toronto overall. So it's really there's a lot of stuff to take into account, and not all of it is something you're going to think of. Like, even for example, I didn't take into account, and if someone's going to say, oh, how did you not realize that or think about it? I didn't take into account that our driveway slopes into our house to get to a drainage system that's in line with it. But if the drainage is fine, so it's enough to handle it and everything's good, but it's like I didn't even think about it. But you'll see if someone else is talking to a house, they'll be like, make sure everything is sloping away from the house so the runoff doesn't go. But some things are super obvious to some and not others, and sometimes you just gotta you can't predict or take everything into account, or at least I can't because my brain isn't big enough. So that's all there is to it.
I mean, even just like, for me, it's like, even just this drive now on the highway, like, it's Sunday at 2 o'clock, and, if you were driving through Scarborough or the 401 or the Gardiner, DVP, any of them, like, you would probably be sitting bumper to bumper right now, and you get pretty much no traffic here and just a really beautiful view. Like, even just driving like through mountain type views, like, just never gets old, for me anyway. Especially like on Christmas we had a snowstorm, and I stepped out quickly, and like all the trees here were just white, and it was literally like something from a movie. And we both went a little north a few weeks ago, and we had, I don't know what the moon was called. It was like one of the rare moons, and it was like a full moon type of deal. And it was just like, the sky was pink, and like it was just us on the highway. And I turned to him and I'm like, this is literally something I would see from a movie, and I'm seeing it right in front of me. Like, no filter, no nothing. Like, it was gorgeous. Something that you didn't think you would ever really see. It's hard to explain. It's one of those things that you just need to experience. So if you appreciate nature and nice views, then this is definitely the place.
Yep. And if you're a born and raised city boy like me that never really never lived out of Toronto until 2 years ago when we moved here, and doesn't really like going outside all that much, I would never be seeing anywhere near as much of the stuff I have if it wasn't for moving out here. Even if it's in smaller amounts, but it is a sight to behold. So I think we're coming up on the exit soon here.
Yeah. We're almost there.
Yep.
And it is very convenient. You'll see right when you get off the highway, you have your Superstore, your Dollarama. Pretty much right when you get off the highway, you have all your shopping, and then as you drive through Quispam, it starts to get more residential, and the houses here are just beautiful. Like, when I say beautiful, I mean beautiful. And we can see when we get there, but like, there's no comparison to Ontario. Like, there's a house, I think, on like Queen and Dufferin that just looks like a rundown bungalow that's like falling apart, and it's almost going for $2 million.
Yeah, well, I don't know about right now, but definitely in the climate when we left, it was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Kind of why we left.
Yeah.
It's,
And then you can come here, have a gorgeous house for, it depends again on the area, but anywhere ranging from 200,000 to 600,000. So it's pretty affordable.
Yeah, the prices have definitely gone up since we got here. Most people are gonna say it's us Ontario
It's
people's
our fault.
But I can say with confidence I'm not when people say people are coming with Ontario money and Toronto money, that ain't me.
Not me.
It's not. It's we
Not
got the
me.
condo. We got the condo in Toronto. It was in, like we said, by the former location of the Science Center. We saved. We did nothing for an entire year. Didn't go outside. Was still living with our parents at the time. When we saw the opportunity, and we decided it's we have to make the call literally right now if we're renting or buying, because we picked the other one. We ain't doing the other ain't happening. So we decided we wanted to buy. So we buckled down, saved as much as we could, and managed to find a condo unit in a more affordable building. So again, like I was saying, this isn't I'm not talking Young and Dundas condo or Front Street or anything wild. It was a 600 square foot condo that we managed to swing for. It was 363.
Yeah.
At the time, and this would have been in 2019.
Yeah.
And once we did that, we were living there for a bit, and then COVID hit, and we were like, there's no way to get away from each other because it's 600 square feet.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. We were on top of each other all the time.
And then at that point, we're we wanted a house, and we were like, it ain't happening in Toronto. So we bought the place here, sold the condo in Toronto. The price did go up because again, that was the Toronto climate. It went up to, I think it was sold for about $420 when we owed about $330 or $300 on it, and then bought a house, didn't overbid or by an absolutely insane amount. We did get it for a little over listing, but everyone seems to automatically complain it's everyone from Toronto's coming in and overbidding by hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then no, I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. So you need to. And then, now we're here. So
This is just the superstore. Shopping, like I mentioned, literally, as you saw, just off the highway. Do have your Dollarama, your Staples right here as well. I'll just do a little loop here. Show you. It's a small plaza, but it has a few options. You get your Starbucks right there. There's the Cannabis NB. What is that over there?
Splash Thai?
Thai food?
Yeah, in your superstore, the Kent's there, which is, I think, effectively if you're Ontario, your Lowe's equivalent.
Yeah.
Home Depot type of deal.